Hey everyone, and welcome back to English Lovers Studio. In the last video, we covered 10 fundamental principles of economics. Today, we're diving deeper into some key economic concepts by visualizing them with graphs and introducing important definitions based on Mankiw's Principles of Economics. 1. Microeconomics versus macroeconomics. Before we dive into the graphs, let's clarify two key branches of economics as defined in Mankiw's book. Microeconomics is the branch of economics that studies how households and firms make decisions and how they interact in specific markets. It focuses on the actions of individual agents within the economy. For example, microeconomics would examine how the price of a good like shoes affects consumer demand for that good. Macroeconomics, on the other hand, is the study of the economy as a whole. It looks at large-scale economic factors such as national income, inflation, unemployment, and economic growth. A macroeconomic issue might involve examining how a change in government policy affects overall economic output or unemployment rates. Ask yourself, imagine a government is debating whether to raise the minimum wage to reduce poverty. Would this be a microeconomic or macroeconomic issue? 2. The circular flow diagram. Let's start with the circular flow diagram, which Mankiw introduces to show how money and resources circulate through the economy. It is a visual representation of the interconnectedness of economic activity. The diagram shows the flow of goods, services, money, and resources between households and firms in a market economy. Imagine the economy as a giant wheel. Households provide firms with resources like labor, land, and capital. In return, firms pay wages, rent, interest, and profits. This represents the factor market. Firms use these resources to produce goods and services, which they sell back to households in the goods and services market. This flow of money between households and firms continues in a never-ending cycle. Here's a question for you. Is it possible for an economy to function without the continuous flow of money between households and firms? 3. Production Possibilities Frontier, PPF. Now, let's look at the Production Possibilities Frontier, which Mankiw uses to illustrate the concept of opportunity cost and the trade-offs economies face. The PPF shows the maximum combinations of two goods that an economy can produce when all its resources are fully and efficiently utilized, given its current technology. This graph demonstrates the trade-offs between different goods. For example, a country might face a trade-off between increasing industrial production or investing in environmental sustainability. Points on the curve represent efficient production where the economy is utilizing all of its resources to the fullest. Points inside the curve indicate inefficiency, meaning resources are underused. Points outside the curve represent unattainable production given current resources and technology. Question for you. Do you think that an economy can produce more goods than what is shown on its PPF with current resources and technology? Next, let's talk about the demand curve, a fundamental concept in microeconomics. The demand curve shows the relationship between the price of a good and the quantity demanded, holding all other factors constant. For example, as the price of shoes decreases, the quantity demanded increases, according to the law of demand. This is a fundamental principle in economics. As prices fall, consumers are generally more willing to purchase more. Question for you. Do you think that people will always demand more of a product when its price decreases, no matter what the circumstances? 5. Shifting demand curves. A shifting demand curve illustrates how various factors other than prices such as income, the prices of related goods, consumer tastes, and expectations can cause the entire demand curve to shift either right increase in demand or left decrease in demand. For example, if your income increases, you might buy more pairs of shoes. In Mankiw's terminology, shoes are a normal good, which is defined as a good for which demand increases as consumer income rises. On the other hand, inferior goods are those for which demand decreases as income increases. Question for you. Can shifts in demand occur even without a change in the price of the goods? Six. Positive statements versus normative statements. Mankiw distinguishes between positive statements and normative statements, which are essential to understanding economic analysis. Positive statements are descriptive and can be tested and verified. They explain how things are without any judgment or opinion. For example, an increase in the price of shoes will lead to a decrease in quantity demanded is a positive statement because it can be tested. Normative statements, on the other hand, are prescriptive and involve value judgments. They discuss how things should be based on personal beliefs or policy preferences. For example, the government should raise the minimum wage is a normative statement. So, economists usually provide data and analysis with positive statements, and governments or policymakers are often the ones who use that information to make normative decisions about policies and societal goals. Question for you. Do you think that governments should always rely on positive statements when creating policy? Seven. Cause and effect. In economics, understanding cause and effect is critical. When we analyze economic relationships, we often want to understand how one variable influences another. For example, if we say, a rise in income leads to an increase in demand for shoes, we are exploring a causal relationship where one factor, income, leads to a change in another, demand. However, identifying cause and effect is not always straightforward, and two common issues can complicate this process: omitted variable bias and reverse causality. Omitted variable bias occurs when a relevant variable is left out of a model, leading to inaccurate conclusions. For example, if a study shows a correlation between ice cream sales and crime rates but omits the effect of temperature, a third factor influencing both, the results might be misleading. Reverse causality refers to the situation where it is not clear which variable is causing the other. For instance, if data shows a correlation between education levels and income, we might wonder, does more education lead to higher income, or does higher income lead people to seek more education? The direction of the causal relationship could be the opposite of what we assume. Here's a scenario question. If a study shows that higher crime rates lead to more people purchasing security systems, could it be that higher crime rates are a result of other factors, like economic instability? That's it for today's exploration of key economic concepts and how we can visualize them through graphs. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss the next video in our Economics 101 series. We'll dive even deeper into more fascinating concepts and make sense of the economy together. See you next time.